Alright guys, what's up? Today I'm here with our heroic Kil'Jaeden guide. So I'm going to go through this video and show this video and point out and talk about things that are important in each phase. So we're going to start off here. He goes into his first of two intermission phases at 80%. Shortly after you go into combat with him, you're going to get your first Armageddon. This ability needs to be soaked by players, otherwise it applies a raid-wide debuff, which for us at that point was a wipe. So yeah, and you cannot soak more than one, otherwise it's going to stack. Otherwise the debuff is going to stack, and you're going to pretty much be taking an unhealable amount of damage. You're going to get this reflection here on 3 random players, and they're going to have to move to the boss and stack on the boss. And then these adds need to be nuked down because they do a cast that increases in damage each cast that they do. So after 2 to 3 casts, it's basically it's going to start wiping your raid. Sailcloth, I can't really talk too much about that, unfortunately. All I know is that our tanks were swapping at 4 to 5 stacks. So yeah, but as you can see, it's chucking our tanks for a lot of health. Rupturing Singularity here is going to always spawn in the middle of the room for the first one, then one of these random 4 sides for the second one. Bursting Dredd Flames need to be moved out of the raid because they will do a lot of damage to the raid. So yeah, completely avoid that. Rupturing Singularity, the next one, the first one in the intermission phase, will be at one of the 4 random corners. You should put down markers to help your raid out. Find the Rupturing Singularity. Focus Dredd Flame is a beam that focuses one person, and it will do damage to them and anyone soaking it. You need to have 4 to 5 people soaking it, and if you have players more than 5 yards on top of each other, it's going to do extra damage. So make sure to have 4 to 5 people in there and spread out also. Yeah, then you go into the next phase, and this phase lasts from 80% to 40%. You can Bloodlust in this phase if you are having issues beating the Wailing Reflections, which is the tank reflection. We were using Vantis runes, so we really did not have a difficult time beating those reflections. But you can Bloodlust in this phase to avoid getting those second reflections. Our raid did that a couple times, but we found it better just to wait for phase 3 because we were beating the second Wailing Reflections without Bloodlust. As you can see here, you're going to get your first Wailing Reflection. This reflection goes off after 8 seconds, just like the other one. If someone gets a Bursting Dredd Flame like there, the other Warlock got a Bursting Dredd Flame, and you don't want to soak while you're doing that. You're going to take a lot of damage if you do that, and I didn't realize that and moved out of the puddle because he was already on it, and that could have been bad. Luckily, someone else came over before I got back. I just didn't really realize it. But this reflection is going to do damage to your melee, or all players within 10 yards for that matter, with a cast, and it increases in damage each successful cast. So you want to nuke him down just as you do the other reflections. Then you're going to get a phase here where you can just burn, which is good. Bursting Dredd Flame Singularity here, so go out for the Dredd Flame, move back in for the Singularity as fast as possible. Oh, the big puddle for Armageddon, I forgot to talk about that. Only people with immunities should take that. It does like 25 million damage or something like that. I believe tanks can also soak it. So yeah, just have people with immunities or the tanks soak it. Otherwise, you're going to be taking way too much damage, and it will kill you. But if worse comes to worse, soak it to avoid your raid being wiped. Because it does do a lot of damage if the debuff on the entire raid successfully goes off. Once again, bursting Dredd Flames moved to the edge away from people. Then Singularity over in this corner. As you can see, I'm going to be roughly in the middle. He was the other Warlock. Alright, I want to pause it here. You want to get out of this phase as fast as humanly possible. For one, there's a lot of damage going out in this phase. From the ads cast, the longer you're in this phase, the less healers can heal you for. Not to mention when you get the sight buff, you take I think somewhere around 200,000 damage every 2 seconds or every second for as long as the debuff is on you. So yeah, get out of this phase as fast as possible. If you have a DK, you need to find Illidan and get that DK to grip the ads to Illidan. If you have a blood DK, obviously grip one, then mass grip the others. That is extremely good to do. But you want to get out of this phase with as many people alive as possible because the last phase is going to be very difficult if you have a lot of people dead. So yeah. When someone finds Illidan, they should ping it on the map. You do that just by clicking on your map up here. And then everyone in the party or the raid will see it. And you go get this debuff. You can see everything up to 40 yards away. Healers can then heal you up to 40 yards away as opposed to the range when you get into this phase, which is 8 yards. So then you're able to kill these ads. So yeah, as you can see, I'm taking a lot of damage here. I'm just going to dot all these ads to get my Wrath of Consumption out. The DK gripped that one really close, but they do teleport around, which is the unfortunate thing. But yeah, if you can get a blood DK to mass grip them and then you can nuke them down before they start teleporting, that is the best thing to do. So blood DKs are going to be great for this fight, especially in like Mythic or something. Then this is when we Bloodlusted. This cast you should use a healing cooldown such as Spirit Link. You should also use personal cooldowns such as like Unending Resolve or Bark Skin or something like that, or Rogue should use Faint. But yeah, this does a lot of damage. It also applies a debuff to you for the rest of the fight. There's no way to get this debuff off. It's just there for the rest of the fight. So as you can see, our health before this goes off, our health after this goes off, it does a lot of damage. Terr Rift, this is going to create this rift that slowly sucks all the players into it. You take damage while you're in this rift, and the longer you're in it, the more damage you take. Demonic Obelisk, I'm going to pause it right here so you can get a good view. The beams come out of the flat side if you want to look at it like that, or it comes out of these little edges, these little things that my mouse are on right now. They come out of that if you want to look at it like that. I did a really bad job at avoiding these. I'm obviously going to have to get better for Mythic and more kills on Heroic, but just seeing this phase more will get you more used to just naturally avoiding these obelisk beams. But the first flaming orb here, you're going to see it spawn. It attaches to the closest player. So when this spawns, you should have everyone that isn't soaking move away from it, and the soaker get closer than anyone else to it. Then he should kite it. They should kite it into the rift. That way it slowly gets sucked up, as you just kind of saw a little bit. But as you can see, it's getting sucked up. It's pretty much gone. So yeah, And as you can see, the rift does not become active as soon as it finishes getting cast, or the first one at least. The next flaming orb just disengages right into it, going to reduce in size. The next obelisk, if someone dies while they have the flaming orb, it will reattach itself to the next closest player. You're going to see this here in a little bit. The kiter died and it reattached itself to me, and I did not realize it in time to move it to the rift here. So here he's going to cast another Darkness of 1,000 Souls. You're going to want to wait until about 2 seconds. Everyone sprint into the rift to avoid taking damage from this. It will also close the rift. So here you can see 2 seconds, everyone's in it, no one took damage from it, and good to go. This rift will close in a minute here. There we go, it finally closed. Then the second one comes out, and at this point we really didn't care. We just burned and killed them. So yeah, once again, Obelisk, I do a pretty bad job of avoiding this here. Or Hunter here, this is where you're going to see it. He gets knocked off the edge by an obelisk while kiting it. It reattaches itself to me after I get hit by an obelisk, and yeah, that's not good. Definitely gonna have to fix, just stupid things like that from Mythic, so you can kill the boss. But as you can see, there's the kill right there. Overall, this was a great fight. A couple things to remember. Let me bring up the boss here. A couple things to remember. Armageddon has to be soaked, but only soak it once, as it applies a stacking debuff that at 2 stacks will basically just kill you. It becomes completely unhealable at that point. Rupturing Singularity, if you are stacked underneath it, it will one-shot you, so do not be directly underneath it, just be close to it. Reflections need to be moved to the boss and nuked down ASAP, as 2 to 3 cast will wipe your raid. Intermission, Dredd Flames need to be moved out of the group, away from everyone else. Focus Dredd Flames, 4 to 5, maybe even 6 people need to soak this, but not within 5 yards of each other. Otherwise, they will take increased, or not increased damage, but another thing will happen that will cause them to take more damage. What is it called here? Focus Dread Burst. So yeah, don't stack. You can stack in normal, just not in heroic. Rupturing Singularity will spawn at one of the 4 corners. Mark the corners, call out which side it's on so that people don't get knocked off. Focused, already went over that. The next phase, the tank reflection, just needs to be nuked down as fast as possible to avoid wiping people. Next, the Deceiver's Veil. Just get out of this phase as fast as you possibly can. The longer you're in this phase, the greater a chance you're going to lose people. The more people you lose, the more difficult this phase is going to be. This phase, there's no enrage timer on this boss, but this phase is kind of a soft enrage. Just how long can your healers hold out until they are just completely out of mana and the rage just wipes, because there is a lot of damage going out in this phase. Between the starting off with this, then you get these that people obviously get hit by, then you get flaming orbs, then you get bursting Dredd Flame, focus Dredd Flame. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. So one, if you're a DPS, obviously, do your healers a favor that I was not doing. Don't get hit by, the stupid obelisk. I did a horrible job of that, as you guys saw, but I will improve on that. So yeah, this is a stage of attrition. So keep everyone alive, get out of this phase alive, and just do mechanics right and burn. This is where we lusted, because obviously you just don't want to be in this phase a very long time. It just becomes too hard on your healers. But you can lust in this phase to avoid getting the second Wailing Reflection. Which, if you get, we got a bad timing on like the first time we were trying this. We were getting the second Wailing Reflection as we went into the intermission, which was pretty much just an instant wipe. But once we Vantis roamed and got all the people there that were there just to increase loot drops, then we're able to push the boss relatively easily without getting the second reflection. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it I hope that it helps you kill heroic Kil'Jaeden. I will continue to make bosses or guides like this for in the future for heroic and mythic. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of those. If I missed something, I apologize. This is the first guide I've ever done, so I'm still getting used to making boss guides. But yeah, if I missed anything, I apologize. Just leave it down in the comments and I'll pin it or something like that. But yeah, I hope this guide helped you and helps your guild kill heroic Kil'Jaeden. Next week will be Mythic. I will most likely have Mythic guides out for the first two bosses, hopefully pretty soon, as well as just kill videos if you just want to see the raw kill video without me talking over it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.